This podcast was brought to you in part by Dragon Shield. Use code PLAYTOWIN5 at the affiliate link down below for 5% off to help support the show.
Welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in cEDH. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dylan. This week, we're doing a Q&A. We're talking about the questions that our lovely patrons asked us over on Patreon.
So let's just jump right into them, unless you have anything else to say before we get into this.
No, you normally say something about Patreon, I think, here.
Oh, I haven't for a couple weeks.
Whoops.
But before we do, make sure you go check us out on Patreon to help support us directly and get some awesome extra perks.
Maybe next time when we do a Q&A, this question could be yours.
So let's just jump right into the Q&A here too.
I got my sneakers on,
All
ready
right.
to jump.
Katia Margreta says, what are MTG opinions that you have that you think are rare/controversial within the cEDH community?
First up, hot take. Do it. Do a hot take. A rare opinion that I have amongst cEDH players in the community. Do you have an answer queued up for this ready? Because this is the first I'm hearing this. I got to ponder.
Is it a rare opinion to say that, like, I don't want anything banned in the format, and I think that the format's in a relatively healthy place?
That sounds like a rare opinion. Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. We've been vocal about that before. No bans. We don't really care for any bans. The format seems like it's a good spot. Don't touch it.
Maybe that is a rare opinion. So that knocks off like 6 questions that people asked. Do you have any other rare or controversial opinions?
To be honest, I don't think so. Most of my opinions are based off of what the majority of people think. Like, I know I'm not the smartest Magic player ever, so whatever the other smart Magic players think, I agree. Yeah, that's probably right. That sounds right.
I think when you dumb it down, that's what it is. But really what you're doing is you're constantly taking in new information, and you're constantly learning based off of other people's experiences and hearing what they have to say and judging their experiences versus what you've experienced personally too. You're able to create your own opinion, and that's how you get to the hypotheses and theories and laws that you do.
You just like ran out of stuff to say, so you're like, a couple more words. Let me just couple more words and end it on a down tick.
Can I make this science-y? Yeah.
No, I think that's great. We answered the question. I'm pretty sure it counts.
I think so too. Yeah. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. So we got that one. Thank you for that question.
Botters bing, botters boom.
Should we start with something a little bit more, like, less impactful?
Give me a softball. Give me a meatball.
Joshua Toller asks, how long have you guys been friends?
Easy.
Yeah.
How long has the channel been around?
About 4 years.
Maybe 4.5 years?
4.5 years.
Almost 5, probably, right? How long were we friends before we started the channel?
Probably. I guess we went to, it was about this time. Holy cow. Happy anniversary. It's like our 5-year anniversary.
Oh, yeah,
sometime around this year.
We met at March, right?
Something like that. Yeah. It was like early 2019 because we went to Chicago together, having only known each other for a very short amount of time.
We played two-headed Giants Commander like all day.
We played a lot of that, and it wasn't even cEDH decks.
No, we got crushed.
No, we crushed.
Did we?
Yeah, dude.
I remember it differently. I remember a Derevi deck beating the bricks off of us.
That was one game.
Okay, that's the only one I remember.
That was one game. No, we play our two-headed giants. I remember I was playing Maelstrom Wanderer for a lot of the two-headed giant stuff.
What was I on?
What were you
Tassiger?
on?
Or
were you on a partner pair? Were you on like a casual partner pair maybe?
Maybe.
Like a Thrasios, like one of your Untapsiger kind of decks that you had?
But not Tassiger, you don't think?
It might have been. I know you played that casual Tassiger deck for
kind
a
of
while.
around that time. It might have been that.
I don't remember exactly what you were playing, but I definitely remember I brought Prosh and I brought Maelstrom Wanderer.
We've never done two-headed giant on the channel. I feel like that could be fun.
We have not done two-headed giant.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Channel.
Like
I think
two-headed
that would
giant
be pretty
cEDH.
cool.
I've never seen that.
You get 60 life.
Ad nauseum's great.
Yeah, ad nauseum's great. You just try to jam a turn 2 ad nauseum all the time.
We should do that.
All right, I'm down with a 60 life turn 2 ad nauseum.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, let's just do that. Let's just do that.
What was the question?
How long have we been friends?
5 years.
It's been about 5 years.
Almost 5 years.
5 years, yeah. Great, okay. Joe F asks, how do you both feel about the current meta and having to sandbag interaction?
I think it's fun. I like the current metagame right now. I feel like it is very Rhystic study heavy. It is very draw engine heavy. I would love if there were some more ways to tackle that. Just a couple. Honestly, I like Orcish Bowmaster a lot. I think, maybe that's an opinion that I have that not everyone does. I think Orcish Bowmaster is great for the format, and I know a lot of CH players are not a big fan of that card. I think we need more cards like Orcish Bowmaster, but specifically what I want is like a smaller Consecrated Sphinx. That's what I think we need to help combat the format. That's not the question that you were asking. The question is, how do you feel about the format? I think the format is overall pretty good, but I think that is something that I would like added to the format. More ways to combat Ristic Study, because that is kind of a problem. There's just so many draw engines.
Specifically ways that still allow them to draw, but like will also give you card advantage as well.
Yes, yeah, because Shieldred, I'm kind of off Shieldred lately. It does deal a lot of damage as ways to combat the Ristic Study effects, but that doesn't matter. A card is still worth a couple of life, so it doesn't actually stop them from doing what they're doing or give you a meaningful way of interacting with the cards they're drawing. So I'm on the lookout for more cards that are good against Ristic Study specifically, because that card is so much of our format. But overall, I still think the format is in a good place. I still like where we're at.
What I really need is Hull Breacher, I guess.
Yeah.
What I really need is Hull Breacher. I know there were many people that asked that question, is like if there was anything that we would unban or something like that in the format too.
If there's anything, Hull Breacher would be the card that I'd unban.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think that card would slot into the meta perfectly because it answers the problems that everyone has with everything. I don't know, like that's exactly what we want to do. I want to be able to play more cards as opposed to banning cards and having less cards that I can't play.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, having to sandbag interaction on that side of things, I feel like the cEDH has always been like that. And we're like, there's never been a time in cEDH where I don't feel like I have to wait on my interaction, because the thing that's going to end the game is always going to be the scariest thing no matter what, in my opinion. And making sure that I don't blow my interaction on something that's not worth it super early in the game just to lose to the win condition 2 seconds later feels stupid bad.
Yeah, that's like part of the game. That's part of why cEDH, I think, is so interesting, is that you do have to sandbag interaction. Sometimes you have to convince your opponents that you don't have interaction in hopes that they'll blow their interaction before you do. I think that's why cEDH is fun, but sometimes I will admit, sometimes the politicking aspect of cEDH does get a little old for me, but that's why there's other Magic formats like Modern and Legacy and other things like that we can play also to kind of have no aspect of politics. But I know what I'm sitting down to a game of cEDH, like that's what it's about. Sandbagging interaction, politicking, that's the format we're doing, and I love that.
Honestly, every format you should be sandbagging your interaction until you absolutely need it. I'm finding specifically, like, the more that I'm drafting, you really need to make sure that like you're saving your rare pieces of interaction for the things that are actually going to kill you, because
for the bombs.
Exactly, because if you don't, you're what I said before, you're just wasting it and you're going to lose to the actual important thing that you should have saved it for. So
yeah, there was a couple times in the Pioneer games that we recently played where I feel like all of my removal basically went at your mana dorks, and then you just ended up killing me with a 3-drop creature.
Do you mean the Canadian Highlander games?
Yeah, what did I say?
You said Pioneer.
Oh, that's interesting. No, I meant the Canadian Highlander games.
That's true. That did happen a bunch. And watching those back, I did notice that as well. That was like, I was still able to make my land drops and then just play a 3-mana haste creature and just use that to kill you. And then you were out of interaction.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there are situations where using the removal early to help stopping progress is good, but there are also moments where you have to go, whatever, let them progress. I have to worry about killing the thing that will actually kill me.
Exactly. Sometimes even like in draft, I'll try to kill something to get in for more damage and then be like, oh, I can just still be able to get in for more damage on my next turn and that will be enough to kill them. But like you never account for their creature that gains them life, or
they
just
have
like
stuff too.
They're not going to just go up past the turn all the time. So if you're not sandbagging your interaction, I think you are losing out on percentage points.
I agree.
Win percentage points specifically.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're gaining losing percentage points.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
guess,
So that's important to clarify the difference. Yeah.
Actually,
you're right.
I think that segues into Ron Swansong's question here. In a format where winning 25% of the time is the average, how do you all find the joy in losing? As statistically, that is what we are doing 75% of the time as cEDH players.
I mean, I know how to answer this. For me is I just personally enjoy watching powerful Magic things happen. I'm not as concerned if I'm the pilot or not for some reason. It's just interesting to me to watch other pilots like do their thing and play the Magic and win the game, and that's fun for me either way. I just like watching the game like play out. That's the interesting part to me. I know our channel is like play to win, but the fun part is the playing to win part. It's not the winning part. That is important, but it's specifically playing to win. Playing with the intention of winning the game, to me, that's the fun part.
Play is the most important word in play to win.
Yeah, and even if that means that I don't have to be the one who's playing my spells, as long as we are playing Magic and I'm at the table, I can have a good time just watching you.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the exact same way. The other thing then too is I do think that it makes the wins feel more worth it. They're much more rewarding, those wins, than it is losses like feeling like, oh man, I always did something to fuck something up, because like at least the losses can be attributed to, oh, my opponent had stuff. Even if you make the right plays, like variance is a huge part of Magic, and variance is going to come into play significantly more in cEDH than it is in any other format.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Variance is like huge. The only thing that you can really control in your cEDH game is making sure that you're making the right decisions. So as long as you're making what you think as the best decisions, or at least learning from your incorrect decisions, there's not really much more that you're going to be able to control. You know what I mean? Variance will take over. Sometimes you'll draw badly. Sometimes your opponents will draw well. Sometimes vice versa. You can't really account for all of that, but being able to just control what you can control and be happy in whatever the outcome is, as long as you've done the best that you can do, I feel like that's like the goal. It's easier said than done. I've been playing Magic for so many years, and it definitely took a while for me to get to this point where I didn't care quite as much about actually winning. In certain situations, it's different. I'm still a competitive person. I want to win the game. I'm not saying that I'm not. Just making sure that we are all playing to the best of our ability. That is the goal for me. That's the fun part. Everyone is playing to the best of their ability.
I think because play is the most important word, I end up getting more out of the plays that I'm making and knowing that I did the right thing, and like knowing that what I did solidified me being a good Magic player more than like the outcome of that actual game.
And like getting blown out by the one thing that you thought they had like a 1% chance to have and they happened to have it, that's still a funny story
that's
either way.
Hysterical.
You know what I mean? Like when
Laugh
those things,
at it, yeah.
as long as you can make the decision like, well, it's more likely you have this than that. Well, you had that, what else can you do? I think finding the joy in those moments is key also.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
Next question.
Lumpy Space Jam says, are you guys planning on designing any more playmats this year?
We have some playmats.
That's a really good question.
We have the Gay to Win playmats that are out right now that you can get right now that benefit LGBTQ charities and organizations. But we have something else. Should we mention it here?
No. Stay tuned,
Stay
though.
tuned. We do have another playmat, 2 variants. I won't say more than that. It's cool.
It's very cool. We're
cool and
incredibly excited about it.
They're here. We're just waiting until July?
Yeah, we're just timing them.
July 14th.
Yeah.
Your birthday.
My birthday.
New playmats coming then.
Yeah. All right, cool. Demon of Rosgrees asks, what is a moment in a game where you looked back and just think, wow, I'm an absolute genius for doing this?
Oh, genius. That was hard. I thought he was going to say idiot. And I was like, I have so many moments immediately at my fingertips when I was the biggest idiot. But when I was a genius?
Yeah, surprisingly, our patrons have a lot more faith in us than we do.
I don't know. Honestly, nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind in a cEDH game for me recently. I've had a couple of moments in non-cEDH games where I felt pretty good. The other day in a draft, I got someone to think I was just attacking with my 6/6 creature just to trade off with 2 of their things. So they blocked in a way where they were going to deal exactly 6 damage to my creature. And I had like Snakeskin Veil perfectly. And of course, they had 7 toughness exactly. So I ended up with a 7/7, got them down 2 creatures, and then, oh man, it felt so good.
That's awesome.
But no, in a cEDH game recently, no. I'm on a cEDH losing streak right now, so I felt more like an idiot playing cEDH.
I have a casual one recently where last night I was playing with my casual zombie list. I had a bunch of attackers coming in. I had a bunch of blockers. I did all my blocks. I had Graveborn Sovereign out. I think that's what it was called. Grave something Sovereign out. It's a zombie that allows me to tap 5 zombies and bring a creature back from the graveyard into play. And I had Mikaeus in the graveyard. So I did all my blocks. I tapped my creatures. I brought Mikaeus back from the graveyard. They all had Undying. After blocks, they died and came back. That felt super big brain.
Oh, look at that. It is called Grave something Sovereign.
Graveborn Sovereign? What is it? No.
Grave Spawn.
Grave Spawn Sovereign. Fucking zombies.
I've never seen this card before, but it's from Onslaught.
You saw it last night when we played.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I meant.
It was with you. He was there.
I've been found. Fuck.
But I have no cEDH big brain moments right now that are coming to mind, honestly.
That's sad. Chase Heilman says, should Wizards start controlling Commander instead of the Rules Committee?
No way. No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, no. That's a no. That's a no for me.
Is that another controversial take that we have that maybe we could have put up with that first question?
I'm not an advocate for more control. I feel like the point of Commander for many people is that it's kind of a freeing format. You can kind of do whatever you want. I think that's good.
If Wizards takes over, we lose out on a lot of that stuff.
I think if Wizards came in and were to actually ban things based on power level or anything like that, it would limit the format and make it less fun. I want the powerful cards to remain.
If we sanction Commander more, I think you lose out on a lot of the freedoms that you have in the format.
To be honest, I have one little idea here. This is kind of a side tangent of something that I personally would think would be enjoyable is if there were Commander like suggested temporary ban lists that would create a balanced thing. Let's ban these 10 things, these 15 things, just not in this real format, not in like, it's just like another version of cEDH where like we had a game recently we played where we didn't play with any fast mana, no free spells either. And I actually thought it was really fun. It was basically cEDH, except take out all of these Soul Rings, Mana Crypt, Dark Rituals, any of that, and just replace it with a couple extra lands and some bigger ramp spells.
No Force of Wills and stuff like that, notably.
I thought it was still like a really fun way to play the game. So I think like recommended temporary ban lists would be cool, like categories to play just for a night. Like, hey, everyone, let's play this type of version. But that's kind of just a side tangent of, no, I don't think Wizards should intervene because I don't think that would happen if Wizards intervened. Not that it would happen now, but I like that it's freeing and you could do that now very easily.
I don't want to like gatekeep the format in any way. And I feel like keeping it open to the RC and keeping like, you know, Rule Zero stuff around, I think is more important than ban every single card that says you win the game on it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good.
I don't think that would be good. No, I think that limits you significantly more. Mark Rosewater does say that limits do breed creativity.
Restrictions, yeah. Limits.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
You're right.
Same
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Like, it doesn't just fix the format, right?
Do you think if Wizards would take over, do you think they would ban cards right away?
I don't know if they ban cards right away. Maybe there's some stuff that like they have been thinking about and they just go, oh, now's the time to like put Dockside on the ban list and put Thassa's Oracle on the ban list. But
because to be honest, I don't really know what Wizards would do to the format. Like, I'm not really even sure what their intent of the format would be. And I think they've even said that they don't want to take control of the format. So it's hard to evaluate also like, you know, should they take over or not? I don't think they want to. And I don't know what they would do, but I don't think it would be good.
There's no saying that it's good in the long run. I think it's a huge gamble. So
next question.
That leading into Jacob's question of what do you think the ban list for Commander should be based off of?
Ooh.
What's more important? Things like power level, feels bad effects, or the ingenuity of the format?
Yeah, to be honest, I think where it is right now is great. I like the ban list as where it is right now. I think it's perfect. To be honest, a lot of the bans are kind of signpost bans, and Thassa's Oracle does kind of feel like the signpost of what they would normally not want in Commander.
I feel like Coalition Victory is not what that is anymore. Yeah.
Right. So we kind of understand that. Realistically, and I normally never say this, if I had to ban something, Thassa's Oracle would be the pick for me. It wouldn't be Dockside or Underworld Breach. It would be Thassa's Oracle, just because it is uniquely powerful. It is uniquely difficult to interact with. It is uniquely inexpensive as a win condition. That's really like the only pick that you could make as ban Thassa's Oracle that would shake up, in my opinion, that would shake up the format extremely drastically.
Yeah, I think so too. I think getting rid of Dockside Extortion is just that's the only card that turbo decks have right now. So like if you get rid of that, you end up making the slower Rhystic Study decks even more powerful.
If you ban Dockside, we're going to time every single round.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But if you ban Thassa's Oracle, Grixis would still exist. Underworld Breach would still exist. Those strategies would still exist. They would just be weak to naturalize. In fact, they'd be weak to things that would get rid of the Underworld Breach, which most decks have access to, whereas ways to beat Thassa's Oracle is not something that most decks have access to. But I'm not saying that we should ban Thassa's Oracle. That would just be like the only change if I had to make a change. Other than that, I agree with the ban list through and through. I think all of their reasonings for everything is great. I'm not saying that Thassa's Oracle should be banned. I want to reiterate. I want to reiterate that. You
already iterated it?
I'm reiterating it. I do not think Thassa's Oracle should be banned. It's just a hypothetical.
Yeah. So in general, I don't necessarily think that we need to ban things for power level. I do like the idea of your own play group judging their own power level.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of players don't want this format to turn into like a 60 card competitive modern format at the same time, right? Maybe that's another reason why it's better that Wizards doesn't take it over, right? And that like it's a completely separate way to play Magic, so we don't need to ban things off of power level or necessarily the ingenuity of the format. I do think more signpost bans would still make more sense for what we are trying to do in the Commander format.
More signpost bans you think would be good?
No, I don't. I think instead of power level and ingenuity bans, I think signpost bans are what we should be doing. Is what
Understood.
I mean. Yeah.
Just don't ban things at power level.
I don't think banning things on power level is any fun.
I think then that means like Ancestral Recall.
Honestly, if I had my way, there would be no cards on the ban list.
Everything would be unbanned.
Everything, yeah. You could just play whatever you wanted.
Oh, okay.
Because if we're actually playing by the Commander spirit and how it was many years ago, it's just whatever the fuck you have lying around.
I could play Gristlebrand.
You could play Gristlebrand. I would be fine with that. Yeah. So it
We
would
should
be
play
like
no ban list Commander.
we should be playing more no ban list Commander.
This is another
really.
idea. This is a second idea that we've had that I think is good. We should play no ban list Commander.
Because if everything is busted,
Nothing's busted.
exactly.
We played those games before. They all ended on turn 2, though.
They did all end on turn 2,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So like the format looks completely different.
Yeah.
But then like the other thing that you could do is you just say, oh no, we're banning the power 9 and you can play everything else.
Okay.
Like that would be my other consideration is you can play literally everything else except for the power 9.
What about Time Twister? Would you ban Time Twister?
Yeah.
Not in this fake reality. In our current reality, would you ban Time Twister?
Oh,
if you
I
had the
wouldn't
ability?
ban Time Twister, right? It is very silly that it's unbanned. I'm surprised it's not banned. But like if I was starting the format and I decided a ban list, I would start with just like saying the power 9 because they're the power 9. And you just put them in that category and then shove them to the side.
I would feel very bad for all of the people who like for years saved and tried and like got a Time Twister because you could play it in Commander and then you can't play it anymore. That would feel pretty bad.
That's true. It does make all of like Ian's wins when you win like 3 Time Twisters and all of a sudden
like you can't
Time
play
Twister's worth $10.
Yeah. Realistically, no bans. Moving on. Next question.
Yeah, that's really what it is. No bans. All right. Stephen Farley says, how do you balance purchasing cards versus printing proxies when managing your collection and building decks?
Yeah, this is a question that I wish I had a more concrete answer for, but just gut.
It's fucking random, man.
Most times, if a card is like less than $50, I'll normally just pick it up. Once it gets to be 50, I'm like, I'll think, yeah, maybe I'll just proxy for now or whatever. I haven't really purchased anything that's like more than $200 in a while. For me, that's kind of where I'm at overall. I like owning and collecting Magic cards. I like having real paper cards, but also proxying makes things a lot easier. And we're a channel that we have to make a whole bunch of different decks. I can't purchase all the cards for all those. That would just take too long.
I agree. It's very random for me too. Depends on where I'm at in my life. When I started the channel full time, I stopped buying cards for a while and I was exclusively proxying decks. So it really depends on where I'm at. I do like having a full paper cEDH deck. So I am working on getting like Atali pieces together now. It is very random, at least for my cEDH decks.
What do you still have to get for Atali?
There's still like 20 cards that I need. Yeah. And like on the big side,
what are the top 20 cards that you still need to get for Atali?
Cradle. I know that's like the top one.
Do you think you'll ever get one?
Yeah, I've decided. Yeah. Because I've decided that it's easier to buy a Cradle than to buy 9 dual lands, right?
I agree. And if you're going to go one direction,
just get the Cradle then. And then
when you get a Cradle, I will be forced to get a Cradle. I can't not have a Cradle.
That will make me, you can't say that, dude. You can't say that. I don't want to put you in that financial tie up.
No, don't be. It's okay. I don't know if I could let you have a guy's Cradle and me not have one.
Just take it out of your 401k. It's fine.
Next question?
More financial advice on the Play to Win podcast. Yeah. All right, next question. David Leverine says, would you rather fight 10 squirrel-sized Emrakuls or 1 Emrakul-sized squirrel? This is extra funny because when we were playing Magic last night, there was a squirrel that got stuck in Tyler and Brandon's hallway.
That's so funny. Yeah, there was a real-life squirrel. For me, the little Emrakuls, the 10 squirrel-sized Emrakuls, I would rather fight them.
I'd rather do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the size of Emrakul?
Emrakul is the whole sky or something. The squirrel will be enormous.
Squirrel will be way too big.
There's no way I would be able to beat that.
But 10 squirrel-sized, well, hold up. Actually, no, it's fine. Because 9 of the Emrakuls will die to the Legends rule.
That's very true. And you just got to deal with the one. State-based actions.
So it's just the one. So as long as you can overcome her taking over your brain and becoming mad, which she's significantly smaller. She's the size of a squirrel, so I don't think like she's as powerful that way.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah, so I think the answer is 10 squirrel-sized Emrakuls.
Specifically because of the legend rule.
Only because of the legend rule, yeah. But I think I'm fucked for either fight. Either fight, yeah. All right, so Harry's son says, I pilot Crick and love low color and monocolor strategies. Are there any dream cards you're hoping to get for us to get out of a 4 and 5 color good stuff mid-range hell meta?
What is the question?
Are there any dream cards that you're hoping for, like cards that they print, to help us get out of a 4 and 5 color good stuff mid-range hell?
I feel like I was kind of rambling about this a little bit earlier, but a little Consecrated Sphinx would be great. A card that says whenever your opponent draws a card, you draw a card for 3 mana. A little card that does that. That would be so awesome.
Honestly, I think after thinking about it more, I think that puts us even deeper into the mid-range hell.
Yeah, maybe you go fast instead. Maybe we need 1 mana Dark Ritual that makes 5 mana, actually.
Yeah, we need more things that help speed stuff up.
I guess I wonder if more things that were like beaters could actually take over the format, where like in formats like Modern and Legacy, you can't just like dirtle around and wait until your storm go off because your opponent's just going to attack you and kill you. Most decks can present lethal in a couple turns, you know what I mean? Whereas in cEDH, that's just not possible. So maybe cards that would like create an enormous amount of bodies very quickly, whenever your opponent draws a card, make a 4/4, something like that. Maybe that would be good.
They have to be big. They have to be big
huge.
and impactful. Yeah.
It would have to be make a Sarah Ascendant or something.
Or like a Crom thing. Whenever your opponent casts 2 spells, make an 8/8. Like something ridiculous.
Yeah, Tarmogoyf for it to be good in cEDH would have to be like a 2 mana 20/20 or something.
You know what's so funny is that the new Tarmogoyf commander has Timnatex, which means that whenever you deal combat damage to 3 players, you get 3 Tarmogoyfs. And I don't even know if that's enough to make Tarmogoyf good in cEDH.
I mean, honestly, what do you want more than a fucking 4/5?
I know, right? Yeah.
3 of them every time? And also, they like can't die too? When they die, they come back or something?
Whenever, yes, a Lurgoyf goes to the graveyard from anywhere, I think they come back.
They come back. Yeah, maybe that deck is good. maybe that Jund deck is the secret. How to get out of mid-range hell.
But if this question is leaning towards, are we ever going to get out of a situation where 4 and 5 color decks are best in cEDH and 1 and 2 color decks are better? I only think that's going to happen if they print cards that say you can only play this card in a monocolor deck, like specifically on the card if you only have black cards in your deck, but that card also has to say you win the game when you resolve this spell.
Yeah,
like it has to be the most busted powerful thing to force you into mono black, whereas any of the things that we want to do to kind of fix the mid-range hell that we're in, like unban Hull Breacher, that's going to end up making every 4 color deck that has blue
even better
and jam that in immediately. No matter what we do, we're empowering the 4 and 5 color decks whenever we power up the 1 color decks.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. What does mid-range fold to the most in our format? Because in traditional formats, mid-range would fold to like control or something like that. But in our format, mid-range kind of means control.
Mid-range means control, which means that we need speed to be able to beat it. We need speed,
like the decks that can win on turn 1, turn 2.
The problem is that mid-range in cEDH also has speed, and also on turn 1 can get Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora or Esper Sentinel out. At the same time that like you're hoping to go off before them, they're also like, I'll just draw into the interaction I need to stop you.
Yeah, I think decks that can present speed but can also prevent like actual like a clock on board, so that the Rhystic Study player can't just like wait forever and draw 1,000 cards, and if you can find a way to actually put damage on them, maybe that's the way to break the cycle. But I don't know if Winota, like that Winota is the first deck that comes to mind that could do something like that, and I don't know that Winota is the answer to what's going on right now. So,
well, it's not performing well in the meta right now, so we know that that's not the answer. So
we need something else like Winota, but better.
We need like a 0 mana commander is like silence on it, like it's Grand Abolisher.
Okay, that you think will get us out of the mid-range hell? Like it'll be able to like protect the turn 1 wins?
Yeah, because it's a 3-color 0 mana commander.
Okay,
and it's Grixis, and it just says your opponents can't cast spells on your turn.
Okay, it's a legendary 0 mana creature that is Grixis.
Yeah,
it says when it enters a battlefield, your opponents can't cast spells this turn.
No, that's a static ability.
Oh, okay.
That says your opponents can't cast spells on your turn.
Okay. And it's has split second? Or it's uncounterable?
Obviously, it has both. Yeah. Why limited?
Yeah. The art is this also.
The art is just
going like this. Yeah, okay. That's the card that we need to get out of mid-range hell.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's what we need to get out. So if anyone from Wizards is listening to this, you have our permission to print that card.
That's totally fine. Take that one. That's from us.
Speaking of Wizards, Adam Wolbert says, where do you think the future of cEDH is headed now that WotC has recognized the sub-format online? And how do you think that this will affect the proxy-friendly nature of the format? This is referring to the format now being available on Magic Online and having full official cEDH leagues you can play in.
I think the main thing that it changes is we get a lot more data, but a couple decks don't get represented as much. I've heard stuff like Kinnan and Tivit are a little bit hard to execute in the time length that you need sometimes.
I've heard the opposite about Tivit, but I have heard that about Kinnan.
Okay, for Tivit's actually fine.
I don't know. It seems to me like if you have like 10 minutes left on your clock, it should be pretty easy, but I also think you get less time in this format online than I thought that you did. Normally, like when you play 1v1 on Magic Online, you have like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I think it's 30 minutes on cEDH.
I would say you need at least 50 minutes, but that would make the game so long.
Maybe that's what it is. It just makes it a little bit too long, but I would say 50 minutes would still be right.
I feel like in cEDH, I need more time than any other format to actually think about stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know why they just cut that from you.
So I guess maybe that's the data from online might be a little bit skewed. That maybe not Tivit, but maybe Kinnan still is a little bit hard to execute.
Definitely Kinnan, yeah.
Some decks that you have to cast and recast things over and over again might have a hard time finishing on time, but that's the format. That's kind of what Magic is. Magic has always been. You have to finish on time. In tournament Magic, there's a clock either way. So it's just another aspect of the game, but just the data will be a little bit skewed.
Honestly, Vintage is the same way. Like the paper Vintage tournaments have decks that are a lot easier to pilot in paper because you can do shortcuts. So like the Vintage metagame is also kind of skewed by Magic Online results. So I don't know. I think that's something that's important to consider. I don't think that it changes the proxy-friendly nature of the format, though, either. I think that they're two separate, totally different things. I think gatekeeping the community by forcing everyone to buy Lion's Eye Diamonds if you actually want a top 16 and actually win tournaments, that's pretty ludicrous right there, right? So the more grassroots style tournaments are always going to have people that will play in them, A, because they're incredibly popular. I don't think that's going anywhere. And B, because they are more allowing of players that aren't priced out of the format to play in them. That pool is significantly larger than the other pool.
Yeah, I think it just benefits everyone if you can do proxies. Like I would rather play with people who play proxies than just not play, which would be the option a lot of the times because you just wouldn't be able to play with anyone. There wouldn't be enough players to do anything if you didn't allow proxies. So.
Honestly, I can't compete in any of the non-proxy tournaments right now.
Yeah, it's just too difficult for too many players. So I agree. Yeah, proxies got to stay.
Proxies got to stay. Proxies will stay. And no matter what WotC does, there's always going to be space for that, I think, in the cEDH side of things.
Yep.
All right, Josh Stein says, sometimes I get analysis paralysis when I play a demonic or vampiric tutor and don't have a clear, immediate need. Do you have a clear process for this type of situation?
Demonic tutor, I normally won't blow early. I'll kind of save that one. There are some situations where I would, but early stages of the game, I'm looking for advantage. No matter what, in my mulligans, in my tutors, almost no matter what, on turns 1 and 2, I'm looking for Aristic Study, Mystic Gamora, and Esper Sentinel, Smothering Tithe, Lotho, something that's going to gain me cards, ideally, or sometimes mana over the course of the whole game. That's what I'm tutoring for almost always in that situation. If we're in the mid game of the situation, I'm still looking for draw engines. I'm still looking for draw engines there. But sometimes in the middle of the game, I will look for interaction. If I know my opponent has a win condition or I think that they might, specifically it's a mystical tutor, I'll show them I'm finding Force of Will to make them maybe think that they won't get it, or just get some sort of interaction with the hidden vampiric or demonic tutor and holds up that interaction. I could also go for a win condition if I think that the time is there, but normally I don't want to tutor for a win condition and then pass the turn. If I tutor for the win condition, I kind of want to use it right away. So I will wait for that normally until like what I think would be like the late game to tutor for win conditions.
Yeah.
But normally those are the 3 different things that I'm looking for. So either card advantage or maybe mana advantage in the early game, interaction that's specifically good, or something like maybe Dranith Magistrate. Like I count that as interaction, like something that would be specifically targeted at what I see in front of me right now. And then if it's the end of the game, closer to like I'll start looking for a win condition.
I don't think that it's good to be like casting tutors just to be mana efficient. So like if you actually don't know what you need, just don't cast the tutor. I think that's the best way to stay out of the analysis paralysis situation, is just until you know what you need, it's not worth casting. 90% of the time you need card advantage.
Yeah.
So that's normally going to be what you get at pretty much any point in the game. But like if you think that maybe you'll get more value out of drawing Thassa's Oracle and then saving your Vamp Tutor to get you Demonic Consultation, don't blow it yet.
And this is obviously also very deck dependent. If you're Roxai and you have a tutor on turn 1 and you can find the win on turn 2, you can just find the ad nauseum. Do that. Don't find card advantage. Find the win. It's very important to pay attention to what your deck was trying to do. But normally, broad strokes, if you're not sure, advantage early, something specific in the middle, win in the late.
Sean McLean says, I am a relatively new cEDH player with about 6 months of tournament experience under my belt. I have put up some decent tournament stats almost always, squeaking out a win or 2, but have yet to crack a top 8 or top 16 at larger events. How do you both advise that I take my game to the next level now that I am familiar with the format?
It's a good question. Probably coaching?
That probably, without knowing what is going on in these games, that might be the best recommendation.
Yeah.
Is just keep playing more And if you're interested in getting like specific analysis of your games, coaching is really the best way to do that.
Reviewing your games in some way, I think, is also helpful. So when you play more games, which you should play more games, I think that's the best way to get better is just keep playing more games.
Experience,
But but also just recording those games and then maybe watching them back afterwards. You can find your mistakes. Sometimes in game you don't see the mistake, and then when you go back, you go, "Oh, this was obvious. I should have done this instead." So maybe reviewing your games a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's really the only way that you'll be able to like listen back on conversations that you had with people in the middle of the game then too, and go like, "Oh, they said that, and that's what I did after that. I didn't realize at the time, but like I kind of let them use me to use my interaction so that they didn't have to cast a spell," right? Like in the moment, that might be something that you don't really realize, but an outsider's perspective might see better, like the things that you're actually failing at.
Yeah, I agree.
Christopher Williams says, MTG related, with all the recent Modern Horizons spoilers, can we explain why blue gets more and more pushed? It's getting to the point where there is no point to not playing blue. You're already at a huge disadvantage without it, but they keep filling in all the holes for blue without doing the same for the other colors. Well, Christopher, it's been this way for 30 plus years.
We're used to it.
Yeah, this is just how it's always been. Blue's always been the best color.
Certain colors have to be the best. It's just how it is.
And it's just been blue for 30 fucking years.
Yeah, I think also we're looking at it from our perspective. There are other formats in which case this blue push is not as obvious all the time.
No, if you look at draft right now, it's the worst color in the draft format.
There are times when blue is terrible in standard. Oftentimes, blue is not the best thing to be doing in modern. Right now,
for a long time, it wasn't the best thing to be doing in modern.
Right now, the best decks in modern are like Scam and Yawgmoth and Titan and
not blue.
Maybe the one blue-red Murktide deck if it's like with a really good pilot.
You're playing blue because the blue land allows your 1-mana Oblivion Ring card to only be 1 mana. What's that domain card? That domain enchantment?
Domain enchantment.
Come on, yeah, it's 6 mana and it's domain.
Yeah, the Leyline, the blue-red deck doesn't play that though.
I was trying to make a joke, but I didn't remember the name of the domain enchantment.
Leyline Binding.
That's what it is, yeah.
But Zoo plays it for that.
I'm saying that the only reason why you play blue in your deck is for Leyline Binding, and like there's no blue cards.
Yeah, but not the blue deck that I had said.
Wow, I'm not funny anymore. Not funny anymore
that
at all.
That one just didn't work.
That was the worst joke I've ever told on the channel.
Hey, guy, can you imagine if I said something funny right now?
Yeah, just like instead of what I actually said, just like replace it with the funniest thing you ever heard.
Wouldn't it be so funny if I said something like so funny
right
great.
Now? Like you'd all be dying laughing. That'd be
just imagine
so
if I
great.
said that.
Yeah,
Something
and
so
I feel
funny.
really good about myself.
Yeah, we all remember it.
Yeah, wow. I'm glad that we remembered it that way instead of what actually happened.
It was good. Next question.
All right, I'm not embarrassed at all.
Don't be.
Chris Robinson says, if magic was never invented, what would you be doing with your life?
Pokemon.
You'd be doing Pokemon?
I'd be doing Pokemon cards.
Still the Pokemon cards?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you think Pokemon cards, the way that they are, would be invented, though, if magic wasn't invented? That's a whole other branch of things, because all those other card games are only popularized because of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah,
so
like
what's the state of trading card games?
If I wasn't doing either of those card games, what I would be doing? If I wasn't doing any card games?
Yeah, I have to exclude card games.
There's not much else. I played basketball when I was younger, and the drums a little bit. Maybe I can get back into that.
Yeah.
Sounds lame.
What would I be doing? I'd be playing more video games.
More games. More Baldur's Gate 3?
This is a depressing question.
Let's move on. Next question.
Let's move on. Yeah. Odessa Iron says, which 2 legendaries would you pick to helm the most broken deck ever conceived for the upcoming Pride Month? All legendary creatures have partner.
Off the bat, I want to say like Nagila Timna.
That seems really good.
I feel like right off the bat, that's the first one that's coming to mind.
Because that's the one thing that Nagila's missing is card advantage in the command zone.
Yeah, if Nagila had Timna in the command zone.
And could just hit like every player for 50 every turn. Like
yeah, and just like almost immediately start drawing 3 cards a turn. That's what my gut says. My also gut does say like if I could put Cass with some sort of green-white commander that I could play Cass in and be playable, but I don't think that would be good. So I'm going to stick with Nagila Timna, which is funny because Timna already has partner, but I think still Timna is just one of the best commanders.
Oh yeah,
no matter what.
I totally agree. Yeah, and that is you filled in that one gap that Najila needs filled right there. So I had someone the other day tell me that like Thrasios and Zerda is pretty interesting, which that is pretty cool, right?
Thrasios and Zerda would be very interesting. Yeah, that would be cool.
Kinnan with any red commander, I think would work great.
Yeah, Kinnan would have to be a legendary creature.
Any legendary creature has.
Because I was gonna say like Kinnan with Dockside would be really good. But yeah, no
really
legendary creature. What's a legendary that makes treasures? Whatever that is, pair that with Kinnan.
Something like that. Yeah.
Thinking. Maybe just Rograk. Maybe just Rograk for extra mana.
Rograk. Wow,
Kinnan
that
and
could
Rograk would probably be good.
Or is there just like a Grixis commander? Like, would you just play Kinnan and Kess together?
Kess probably realistically isn't it, you know?
Maybe not Kess, but maybe something else. I don't know. If you can give Kinnan access to like 4 colors, like if you can give Kinnan access to like red, black.
Is that fun?
Kinnan Timna could be cool, but there's no red. I feel like I'd rather do like Kinnan and then a Rakdos commander of some kind.
Okay, yeah.
Kinnan and Xantia, maybe.
That's interesting. I don't know if that's good.
Could be interesting.
There's the one that's the painter that's just a 2 mana when it enters, make a treasure.
Oh, that could be good.
Is that good?
What's that one? Kellen or something?
Kellogg.
Kinnan and Kellogg.
Kegnog.
Both cake and eggnog mixed together. Kegnog.
I'm hungry.
That's great.
Yeah, Kinnan with something red.
The other thing I was thinking is maybe Ragavan and something for
Kinnan and Ragavan. That makes a treasure.
There
shit. We go. Yeah, that's it. Kinnan and
Ragavan. Yeah.
That's really good.
Wow, that is really good.
Right?
You could do Ragavan and Atraxa the Unifier.
Well, at that point, I would want to do Rograk and Atraxa.
And Atraxa.
Because then you can turn on your
you can actually play Fierce Guardianship and shit.
Yeah, and Underworld Breach.
Wow.
You can make Squee in your Atraxa deck.
Whoa.
That's something.
I think these kind of cool 5-color monstrosities and Rug Kitten deck, a Teamer Kitten, would be the best thing.
Is there a Mardu? What about Diata? Dude! Diata should go with Kinnan.
Oh, Diata Kitten! Oh my god!
Wow, it took us way too long to get there because that makes a whole bunch of treasures right away, right?
Yeah, you play Diata and Diata's free, basically.
Yeah.
Whoa, no,
but Diata's a ritual.
Diata nets you 4 mana.
It's a 4 mana, make 8 basically.
Diata comes into play and activates Kinnan.
Yes, yeah.
That's wild.
Yes, yeah. So that I think that all right. So our meta is Kinnan Diata, Atraxa Rograk, Najila Timna.
And those are the best.
We need one more, though. We need a pod.
I had said Thrasios Zerda, but that feels way worse than all this other stuff that we're talking about.
It's also similar to the Kinnan thing, but not really.
It's worse. It's worse than the Kinnan thing.
Well, I kind of do want to, like, we should try to break, like, Thrasios. Can we break Thrasios in this situation? We need another Mardu commander to give it access to 5-color.
Maybe you don't need to have another good partner. You just need...
Yeah, maybe Zerda is just enough because it's a combo piece and it works well with Thrasios.
What about Kalia of the Vast? And then you just play like a bunch of...
Yeah. I think Thrasios Zerda is like the only real main one that's coming to mind. And in this way, we have a food chain win. We have infinite combat win. We have a Kinnan win.
Yeah, whatever the fuck
and
that's
then we have Thrasios, another infinite mana win. And then they're all playing...
We're gonna play these decks. Underworld Breach.
They're all gonna win on turn 2 and never play their commanders.
Yeah,
so
oh yeah. They're just intuitioning for breach lines.
Gut reaction. I think those would be the 4 decks that I would go to, though. Yeah, Thrasios, Zerda would be the 4th one.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Next question.
Let's get this question from Nick Foles Goat 09. What is your favorite passion outside of MTG?
What does that mean? Outside of MTG.
Outside of MTG.
I'm not really familiar with that.
I have an answer. I would say roller coasters.
Yeah, you got roller coasters for sure.
I definitely have roller coasters. That's a really fun hobby.
We watch Bleach on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but that's not really a hobby.
Maybe if we weren't doing Magic, we would just be watching a lot more anime too.
We would probably be watching a lot more anime, but not doing anything else, just watching anime.
Just watching it, yeah. Would we have a YouTube channel about anime?
I think I would have a YouTube channel about something, no matter what. And if anime was what I was into, maybe it'd be about anime. I mean, I am into anime, but if it was the only thing I'm into.
I'm more into Magic than I am into anime and roller coasters.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like music, but not like...
You sounded like the Fred Fredberger for a second. Do you remember that? I like music.
I like when I was younger, I played in bands. I don't want to play in bands anymore.
I've stalled. My music ability has stalled. I haven't improved over the past 10 years. It could only go downhill.
We should start a band.
Oh, great idea. After I said that?
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Get those skills back up to par.
We could do that. Do you want to start a band?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's only about magic,
The next question's from me.
Okay.
What is the name of your band?
The name of the band is called Merfler.
Murphalurp.
That's all I got.
There's no
How about
vowels.
Just that? Just
Metallica.
That's good.
All right, great.
Yeah. All right.
If that's taken, then we should do Leonard Skinner.
If both of those are taken, I'm not doing the band.
Yeah.
Because those are the best band names
Those
ever.
are the best band names ever. I can't top
You're so
either
smart.
Metallica or Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, you're so creative and unique with those original names.
All right, the last question here is from Kyle Carson, who wants to know our top 3 comfort foods.
Easy. Not really. Right off the bat for me, vegan mac and cheese.
Okay.
What's your first?
Regular mac and cheese, non-vegan mac and cheese.
That's smart. I didn't. Second for me, comfort food. Yeah. Like when I'm a little sick, butternut squash soup.
Whoa.
That makes me feel very warm and comforted inside. What about for you?
Comfort food. That's different than a favorite food, right?
Whatever makes you feel comfortable.
What makes me feel comfortable? I'm always uncomfortable, though. I'm going to say peanut butter and jelly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. For me, the next one, I'm trying to use my taste buds to find my memory. Santoros, although they don't exist anymore, so it kind of doesn't count, but they were a local mom and pop that made vegan hot dogs, and they were fucking incredible, and they don't exist anymore. But so Santoros hot dogs, though they don't exist and I can't get them anymore, that's my third option.
I don't know. I'm going to say Faux Bowls.
Faux Bowl is great.
Faux Bowl is great.
Yeah, they are. They're awesome.
Well, thank you everyone who submitted questions.
And thank you for watching or listening. If you want to support us directly, you can do so on Patreon, and maybe next time give us a question, like our $100 patrons, although all of our patrons gave us questions. All right, these are our $100 patrons.
Old and Grumpy, Odessa Ryan, Gecko21, Caleb Ritchie, Zach Hartley, Kajo Alex, Sean in the Ice, Mark Cirillo, SoCal Acura, Stormageddon, Luke Cook, Demon of Rosgrees, Peter Stewart, Uncle Butts, Nick Foles, Goat09, Kawaja A. Hamid, Lauren Connell, and Baby G-Bus.
If you want to pick up any of our merch, you can do that at PlayToWinMTG.com.
Huge shout out to Dragon Shield for supporting the show. Use code PlayToWin5 at our affiliate link down below to help support the show.
Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram for more content.
Thank you so much for watching.
See you next time.
Big shout out to Mystic Muffin Man, Nick Saxby, Jacob Bauer, Luca Bressold, Big Mike, Nicholas Balder, Reactive, Tyler Watson, Brian Barrington, Zachary Coulson, Tyler H, X Tyler the Tree X, Mallcraft, Driving Crooner, Jabaha, Mace the Ace, Dalton Poteet, Hopo Ghost, Justin, Man Solo, Pedro, Jacob Depp, Michael Ballou, Jan Wildfang, Thomas Bueno, and David Nelson.
All right, we ready? Do you know what we're saying?
Welcome to the Play to Win podcast, where we talk about winning in cEDH. I'm Cam.
And I'm Dylan. This week we're doing a Q&A.
We're answering the questions that our Patreons gave us.
I'm saying that? We're asking...
You can say that if you want, but I'm going to say that if you don't say it, if you just stop right after that, I got to pick up.
Gotta say it.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready?